All right, good evening. Welcome to the April 15th Select Board meeting. The Select Board is resuming open session as we had an executive session before this meeting, so we're just coming back to open session. Before we begin, I would like to point out that this meeting is being recorded and will be rebroadcast by Canton Community TV at a later date. I would like to start tonight's meeting by welcoming Susan Harrington to the Select Board and congratulate her on being only the 5th woman elected to this board. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I would also like to thank John Conley for his many years serving the town of Canton and thank him for all he has done over the many years. Normally, the Select Board would take a picture of the new board, but our Vice Chair has a significant ankle injury, so we won't make him stand up for the picture. We will have to wait until he is fully healthy and recovered.
Sorry, sir.
Ms. Harrington did say the injury looks so bad that if he was a dog, she would have had to put him down. So we are fortunate that he is not. All right. Let's start the meeting as we do with public comment. As I do each meeting, I will read this little blurb. So the public comment portion of the meeting is an opportunity to listen to residents' feedback and concerns, but the public comment portion of the meeting is not meant to be a question and answer format. There will be no response to any public comment when presented. The public comment portion of the meeting is limited to 15 minutes total and up to 3 minutes per speaker. Those that wish to speak should stand at the microphone and wait to be recognized by the chair. Please state your name and what town you live in. You do not need to give your address. I would ask that all members of our audience to be respectful of each speaker as well as each other. Anyone who does not wish to speak or who is unable to speak due to the time limit may submit their comments in writing for the board's review and consideration. All right, with that being said, at 7:02, we will start our public comment. Give me 1 second to get us going here. All right, Ms. Sweeney, I saw you up at the microphone first, so we'll go to you. Yep.
Is that working? Yep. Okay. Brenda Sweeney, my humble opinion. A few highlights from the Sturm evaluation of our audit. The audit committee was never structured to be neutral or independent. The real failure belongs to the town's leadership, substituting political convenience for genuine reform. The audit failed to scrutinize how CPD maintains accreditation from CALIA and MPAC despite clear violations of core standards of both. How could a department with those active accreditations perform so poorly? Failure of command. CPD failures, many of which violated CALIA and MPAC policy, represent a dereliction of duty by the Chief of Police. It's inexplicable that Five Stones did not take a more aggressive posture in holding leadership accountable. The only responsible path forward is to bring in a new chief. Without that, the people of Canton will continue to doubt their police, and the officers themselves will continue to suffer under unclear direction and fractured trust. You can't build accountability on the same foundation that enabled failure. So I always thought the issue in Canton was townie versus outsider, but it's actually about control, plain and simple. Control gives you power. It lets you manipulate outcomes to your own advantage. It's obvious Mr. Loughran and Mr. Albert are determined to maintain control. And while Mr. Albert must recuse, renewing Helena's contract factors into their grand scheme. So I'd like to talk to J.R. McCourt. This town is a part of the fabric of your being. You love Canton. We've seen it in your actions. We know it's a guiding light for you. The town is broken. Countless people have told me how petrified they are to speak out for fear of retribution. If they speak, the bullies will come. Their children, their grandchildren will suffer. This decades-long reign of terror has to end. You have kids, JR. You understand the fear in every child's mind, the pain in every parent's heart. You know the damage that bullies can do. This town needs to heal. Putting it on repeat won't help that happen. The people stood up and shouted loud and clear. We voted against the candidate for renewal. Show this town and the rest of the world the man that is J.R. McCourt. Vote for us. Be the dad that stops those bullies for all the kids of Canton. Make their future brighter. Be a guiding light that teaches them the true meaning of courage and integrity. Perhaps one day your example will give them the courage to stand up for someone else, JR. As for Mr. Loughran and Mr. Albert, our next election's in 12 months, then 12 months after that. You're sure this contract is the wagon you want to hitch your horse to? All those voters you don't care about are watching. You can bet your bottom dollar we'll find a different wagon. When you don't learn from history, you're bound to repeat it. We will speak again loud and clear. Ask those random freaking citizens, Mr. Theodore and Mr. Conley, what ignoring the voters did for them. Think of us as the Terminators. We'll be back.
All right.
Liza Colburn, Canton resident. It's my mother's heavenly birthday today, so I'm calling on her courage right now to speak on behalf of an awful lot of people. I, along with the majority of residents, think that Chris Albert participating in police chief contract discussions next month and voting would be both unethical and tone deaf. In June 2024, before the chief's renewal vote, Chair Loughran stated, "Whether you approve of this decision or not, the board is elected to make these decisions. We discussed that Mr. Albert should not participate, so any discussion regarding the police chief did not include Mr. Albert." He went on to say the decision that we talked about was offering the chief a 1-year personal service contract and said, quote, "We want to get through the trial." Unfortunately, we are still in trial mode, but this time, in addition to Chris Albert and many of his family members listed as witnesses to be called, Chief Rafferty is now also listed as a witness. Also worth noting is that Mr. Albert's brother reports to the chief as well. The conflicts of interest are clear. Additionally, there are findings in the Five Stones report, whether emphasized or not, that point to the need for fresh police leadership. It's notable that 70% of our officers in a pretty young force expressed to Five Stones that they wanted additional training. This was unlikely a secret within the department. The chief has had 3 years now to make that happen. However, it appears that it's only now, under audit recommendations, or after that it will. If it's a matter of financial funding, why did the chief prioritize capital requests for $180,000, I think, kitchen, or a $400,000 mobile shooting range? Why not prioritize requests for training funds and purchasing evidence collection kits versus waiting until the audit recommendations? If this was done, I was not aware. I view the vast majority of our officers in Canton as courteous, professional, and competent, and I would personally never hesitate to call 911. It's time to give our force strong leadership and additional staffing they deserve. Five Stones found there was inconsistency in the internal affairs, policy, execution, documentation, and process spanning the tenure of 4 chiefs. To quote the Sturm Group's analysis of the audit, quote, "You can't build accountability on the same foundation that enabled failure. The town of Canton doesn't need more audits. It needs the courage to make hard decisions. That starts now." I hope the Select Board sees the need to break this cycle and strongly considers hiring this next police chief from outside of the department. Thank you.
Rita Lombardi, and I have the Sturm white paper that they did, and I'm also going to read from the Sturm white paper because I think they did a fabulous job at critiquing where Five Stones failed us. Not that Five Stones failed us completely, but where they failed us as this audit. And they were set up as well. So I'm just reading excerpts from the report. What was advertised as an opportunity to reform became an exercise in confirmation bias, political theater, and superficial accountability. Rather than uncovering systemic problems or holding leadership accountable for operational breakdowns, the audit merely restated public information already known from the Karen Reed mistrial. More troubling, the audit failed to scrutinize how Canton Police Department managed to maintain dual accreditations from Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies and the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission, despite clear violations of core standards in both bodies. The shortcomings of the audit are not the fault of Five Stones. The real failures belong to the town's leadership, substituting political convenience for genuine reform. They didn't want a difficult audit. They wanted a safe one, and that's exactly what they got. The Internal Audit Committee was never structured to be neutral or independent. From the start, it was clear that where the loyalties stood of each member. Meetings served not as forums for governance, but as battlegrounds for influence. The chair of the Audit Committee displayed consistent hostility towards outside experts and dissenters, effectively signaling the outcome had already been decided. Nearly every finding in the Five Stones audit, mishandled evidence, poor documentations, failures in internal affairs, was already in the public domain. What Five Stones failed to do was ask the obvious question, but uncomfortable question. How could a department with an active CALEA and MPAC accreditations perform so poorly? Instead of probing the gap between the accreditation and reality, Five Stones chose the path of least resistance. They didn't challenge leadership. They didn't audit the accreditors. They didn't uncover anything that hadn't already been exposed in the Karen Reed case. This was not a deep audit. It was an audit timeline. The Five Stone report stops short of assigning blame where it belongs, on leadership. The chief of police is ultimately responsible for ensuring a department operates in accordance with law, policy, and best practices. It is inexplicable that Five Stones did not take a more aggressive posture in holding leadership accountable. Their failure to do so undermines the purpose of the audit. Instead, they were used as a shield. The presence of the accreditations should have meant something. Instead, they were used as a shield. Five Stone acknowledged them in passing, but never explored how the Canton Police Department secured or maintained them despite serious operational efficiencies. Their omission amounts to complicity in a larger accountability crisis. This isn't a response.
Thank you, Ms. Lombardi. Just name and town.
Jennifer Wexler, Canton. Good evening, Chair Loughran, board members, and Canton community. We are very excited to announce and invite one and all to attend our 6th annual Earth Day celebration. Canton Greenfest, every day is Earth Day, on Saturday, May 3rd at 1 p.m. This event, hosted by Canton Residents for a Sustainable, Equitable Future, is co-sponsored by the Canton Audubon Museum of American Bird Art and Education Center and Canton High School Climate Club. It is funded by the Canton Cultural Council, Trillium, Bank of Canton, Melissa Mayer, Compass Realty, and Polka Dog. Featured events at this intergenerational, family-friendly, community-unifying celebration include, drumroll, award-winning musical performer Alistair Mook, many parents will know his music, performing for free with support from the Canton Cultural Council at 1:30. Meet and interact with owls and hawks, courtesy of the Trailside Museum and Mass Audubon. Join in a community arts project, uplifting our USA national tree, the mighty oak, in support of Canton's Arbor Day proclamation and toward becoming a Tree City USA. Please join us to learn about community resilience, sustainability, and climate mitigation. We will showcase and introduce Canton's upcoming climate action plan, also featuring Canton's walking trails, recycling, rain barrels, and natural solutions for excessive rain like bioswales. You will also have a chance to experience interactive exhibits, including our brilliant Canton High School students' work on climate education and mitigation, green jobs, how to retrofit your home and increase our use of clean energy, and you can take legislative action. Native plants will be available for sale with food and fun. So please join us to help showcase Canton's efforts to ensure a harmonious and respectful relationship with Earth and all her inhabitants. We look forward to seeing you there. Everyone on the Select Board, you are most welcome and invited. All Canton residents, we look forward to seeing you there on Saturday, May 3rd at 1 p.m., rain or shine, we'll have tents, at the Canton Audubon Museum of American Bird Art Education Center campus right across from Canton High School, and overflow parking will be in front of the Rodman Building. I'm grateful for this opportunity to make this public service announcement, and we have flyers, should anyone want one, and I will leave them, if I may.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. Thank you. And I'll read that again for you next week,
Oh, thank you so much.
unless you want to come do it yourself.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wexler. All right, time for one more. Just name and
Jonathan
town.
Camo, Attleboro, Mass. First, I'd like to extend sincere congratulations to Susan Harrington on this historic election. Tonight's the first time in Canton's history 2 women now sit on the board at the same time. That matters, that's progress, and it should be recognized. Progress is only meaningful if we also have the courage to look in the mirror and ask hard questions. So here's mine. Why are so many people, including some of you sitting up there right now, still willing to look the other way when it comes to a police department that was caught misappropriating taxpayer money? Let's call it what it is. It was salary fraud. A detective was paid for time that he didn't work. His vehicle was cleaned with taxpayer money. Sick time was manipulated. On-call schedules were padded. And the only reason any money was paid back 2 years later was because a nationally recognized outlet started FOIA requesting it. That's not transparency. That's damage control. That's conscious of guilt. It was paid back 1 day after the FOIA request from Vanity Fair, which was only 25 days before the audit committee had their presentation at the Canton High School auditorium. But there's more. Another detective, while on duty, got drunk, lost track of his firearm and badge, and his best course of action, he wanted them left in his mailbox. That happened here in Canton. So again, I say, what's your number? What's the number, the dollar amount, the safety risk, where the people right here in the front of the room finally say enough? Because if an officer leaving a gun unattended and a department stealing public money doesn't warrant outrage, what will? And more importantly, how can we trust the 5 people sitting here tonight to hold anyone accountable when none of you even say publicly that this was wrong? This isn't about law enforcement, it's about leadership. It's about whether we, the citizens, believe you are working for us or just circling the wagons to protect each other. So I'm going to end with this. It shouldn't be hard for a public official to look at the residents and say, yes, this was wrong. But until someone does, we don't expect to trust you. You guys expect more questions and expect more people asking them. Thank you.
All right, so that ends public comment with nobody else standing up. So, Mr. Clerk, we'll go right into it.
All right. First on the agenda tonight, we have Town of Canton legal notice. The notice is hereby given that the Select Board will hold a public hearing at or about 7 p.m. Tuesday, April 15, 2025, to be held in the Sala Meeting Room, Memorial Hall, 801 Washington Street, Canton, or remotely via Zoom. The agenda posted at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting will specify the location. This hearing is in connection with an application for a license to store more than 3 vehicles at 290 Pine Street, made by Pine Street Trinity LLC and Caden Realty LLC, 290 Pine Street, Canton, Mass. 02021. Christopher M. Albert, Clerk, Canton Select Board. I move that we open the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to open the public hearing. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Public hearing is open.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Mr. Chairperson, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Myself there. It's interesting appearing before this board because I realized that in 55 years I've been doing this, it's the first time I did not know a majority of the board. So everything is determined on the merits tonight, right? My client cannot be here, he's out of state, but he is Eli Florence. Some of you know his facility. It's Florence Electric. It's at 290 Pine Street, one of those beautiful sites, campuses in the town. Unfortunately for him, it happens to be opposite our sanitary landfill, so you can look on the left and see a beautiful site, and the other one see a very necessary site. But what we're trying to do tonight is relatively simple. He's looking for more than 3 vehicles in a garage that he has there. Because that adds up to as much as 200 gallons of gasoline. It becomes an issue for the fire department and for the Board of Selectmen to make sure that this is a safe thing to be doing. To quote storing, that's really not his intent, but that's in effect, if you have that many vehicles in there, that's in fact what you're doing. And to make sure that it's safe. And I want to say with Mr. Duty here that he has trained his department real well, his former department real well, and they are extraordinarily helpful to people like myself in matters like this. We did notify 9 boards, which 3 responded positively. The others didn't respond at all. And now, under the statute, it goes to the Board of Selectmen to see if they want to grant this. Usually, it's relying on the fire department because it's really a fire issue. No one really cares how many things you put inside that garage as long as those things don't have gas in them. And that's why we are here tonight. And this, I want to conclude by saying that Florence Electric is a high-end electrical contractor company that services many of the Fortune 500 companies in the area and employs up to 500 employees. So we would ask this because they want to store their vehicles overnight just for safety purposes of vehicles and for climate purposes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schneider. Do we have any questions for our guest?
Paul, is this a proposed garage involved with this? That's on the site plan, or is that garage there?
Yeah, there's going to be a couple offices inside, but not the main. The main offices are in the building, but they wanted to have a couple.
And what are the maximum amount of added vehicles? Is it going to be a max 3 added vehicles, or what's the total amount of vehicles?
10.
You were asking to add 10?
Yes, we notified the fire department that we're looking for 10.
And those 10s would be housed in the garage?
Yes. Well, not always, but at their discretion, they'll be housed,
Yeah.
particularly depending on the weather.
And on the site plan, this is going to go through zoning anyhow?
Yes, it did go through zoning.
So I
Zoning
just
approved.
assume do we have to vote on this for the storage of the gas? It's basically for the vehicle gas storage, right? That's
Correct.
what we're looking at.
Yeah, and the fire department has
It's
already
like
gone through it.
we're telling them that they can put the gas there, but zoning might not allow the vehicles.
They did.
Yeah, it went through zoning.
Oh, it's already gone through.
We
though.
did, yes, we
Oh,
did.
you did? That's what I
We
that's what I
did,
wanted.
and your building commissioner, who's on top of everything like this, got notice from me and responded that as long as you abide by the decision you received from the zoning board, he has no problems
And I
with it.
have
So,
no more questions.
and
so
we
I'm
do
fine
have
with
to
that.
abide by that decision.
My apologies, I thought hadn't been.
That's okay, but it's
Thank
it's fun to hear.
I was
the
putting on a
zoning-
different hat, Paul, my apologies.
Zoning issues so many years after you sat on the zoning board.
I know it, my
Trying to
fault.
keep me on my toes, JR.
Yep.
Any other questions from the board? Any member of the public have any questions, comments? All right, hearing none. Mr. Albert?
I move that the board close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to close the public hearing. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Mr. Albert?
I move that the board approve the application for a license to store more than 3 vehicles at 290 Pine Street made by Pine Street Trinity LLC and Canton Realty LLC, 290 Pine Street, Canton, Mass. 02021.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Helped me end my career on a high note. That really would have been depressing if I couldn't win this one.
You still got a couple of holes to play. Not quite at the
JR did
19th
make me
hole.
nervous, I have to say that.
Take good care, Mr. Snyder. Thank you. Take good care.
See you later.
Have a good evening.
Bye, Chief. Chief.
Thank you. That's all right. He still answers to it.
He'll always be my chief.
All right, next, Mr.
All
Albert.
right, next up, the Town of Canton legal notice public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Canton Select Board, acting as the licensing agent for the Town of Canton, will hold a public hearing regarding the modification, suspension, revocation, cancellation, or any other disciplinary act on a liquor license granted under Mass General Law 138, Section 12, a common victualer's house license held by Nosh and Gog Canton LLC, DBA Nosh and Gog, 95 Washington Street, Canton, Mass. 02021. Canton Select Board will hold a public hearing in the Sala Meeting Room, Memorial Hall, 801 Washington Street, Canton, via Zoom on Tuesday, April 15, 2025, at or around 7:10 p.m. The meeting agenda posted at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting will specify the location. Christopher M. Albert, Clerk, Canton Select Board. I move that the board open this public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. All right, do we have anybody from Nosh and Grog here? All right, so Nosh and Grog is the restaurant down at Cobb's Corner in the former Bertucci space. They have gone out of business. They have not responded to multiple requests from the executive office to pay fees that are outstanding. And so this hearing is to revoke their license for non-payment of fees. And that's the process that we need to go through. And with nobody from Nosh and Grog here to comment or object, are there any questions from the board? Any questions from any member of the public? Hearing none, Mr. Albert?
I move that the board close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Mr. Albert?
I move that the board revoke the liquor license granted under Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 12, in a common victualer's house license held by Nosh and Grog, Canton LLC, DBA Nosh and Grog, 95 Washington Street, Canton, Mass. 02021.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, next up, we have some interviews. Jody? Yeah,
Right.
sorry.
Introduce to you, Connor Murphy. See, good luck.
I'm Con.
How are we doing?
Hello.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Murphy.
Good evening.
You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
So just to update the public, our town planner, TJ Torres, has left the town of Canton and taken a different job. We asked our town administrator and HR director to find us a new town planner, and they interviewed several candidates, and Connor is one of the top candidates. So, Connor, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're interested in the job, some of your experience that you think would be a fit here in Canton?
Certainly, thank you. I'll start with my education. I graduated in 2017 from Westfield State University, where I earned a Bachelor in Science in Urban Planning. About 2 weeks after graduating, I immediately interned with the town of Braintree, where I've been for almost 8 years now. My resume would show that I've had progressive experience, starting as an entry-level position, and then being promoted to 2 positions where I currently hold the assistant director's title. Over the past couple months, I started looking around and I saw the posting in the town of Canton. I was intrigued by it for a couple reasons. First was location. I grew up in the 128 area on the other side of the Blue Hills in Milton, so I'm familiar with the area. I'd like to stay here in this area, so I thought that was intriguing. And then, when you apply to jobs, you do your research, right? And I started looking at some of the progress that's been made here in terms of land use specifically. I saw a master plan that was adopted. I saw a housing production plan that was recently approved. And then I saw other land use, sustainability, other zoning matters occurring in the town. I found interest in those.
All right. Connor, what is your experience with affordable housing? Did you guys have any of like an affordable housing trust or anything like that in Braintree?
Currently, no. Housing is difficult in a way. It's difficult to get passed. We had tried to propose an inclusionary bylaw requiring 10% at the minimum for most projects. We found that difficult to pass through our town legislation, town
Really?
council, yes. So on the opposite end of that, as staff, we've sat there and had to negotiate with developers to provide affordable housing. And we've typically required 10% minimum on projects they propose.
Okay. Do you have any ideas on how you would try to increase affordable housing in the town of Canton, should you get this. I don't need, specific, just, do you have any thoughts on how you would begin to look at that?
I would start first with creative zoning. The term that gets tossed around a lot is density bonuses, if they provide the appropriate amount of affordable housing. So you allow them to increase the number of units if they increase their affordable housing percentage.
All right, so Ms. Harrington, why don't we go to you?
And welcome. In municipal planning, unexpected challenges often arise. Can you describe a time when you encountered a significant obstacle during a project and how you overcame it?
I would say one obstacle that I've received is last-minute community input. Typically, we'll have meetings at the beginning of the week. So on Thursday and Friday, you start to see community input come into your office, whether that's via email, letters, phone messages, et cetera. And you have to sort of navigate through that. You have to take that all into account. And then you have to also prepare that and deliver it to either the planning board, the zoning board, Conservation Commission, whoever the jurisdictional agency is at the time. So getting that last minute sort of, input, and then being able to handle it and vet your board members and introduce it to them, and be able to provide a professional response to them as well.
And what about community outreach to hopefully make that input not be at the last minute? How do you orchestrate that?
A number of different ways. We're required under the state statute to provide public notice for certain projects. You want to make that information readily available, and whether that's hosting it on the town website, whether that's having copies available at the front of your office. If someone calls your phone and they email you, being able to provide the copies of those materials right away. If they have questions about that, you do your best to answer that right away. And then you say, well, I don't have the answer right now. Let me get back to you the next day or two. And you go and search for that answer.
All right, Mr. McCourt?
Welcome to Canton. Nice to have you here this evening.
Thank you for having me.
How would you approach assisting the planning board in implementing town-wide goals and ensuring that strategic planning align with those goals?
You review what's in front of them, and then you review that against those plans and policies that the town currently has. Typically, in my profession, in the past 8 years, we've prepared staff reports for the board, and those reports have outlined different criteria, whether that's for certain special permits, site plan review, subdivisions, and then we also account for other plans and studies that we have performed for that general area. For example, if we had prepared a economic development plan for a village center, we would incorporate those goals and the matrices involved with that plan into our reports and provide it to the board, and then brief the board on those.
Thank you.
Ms. Boyden?
Hello there, welcome.
Thank you.
Please share with us your thoughts on commercial development, your understanding and thoughts of the town of Canton's business community.
So in terms of commercial development, it's obviously, in other words, the prize. It's a higher tax rate. And it, in a way, it can bring impacts, but those impacts can be fairly limited. There's business hours, right, between 7 and 6 mostly. But it's the type of business that comes in. For example, if you have a fast food establishment that comes in, they're gonna have a drive-through, and during the midday peak on a Saturday, you're gonna see that drive-through extend out towards the curb cut. Those are things we want to avoid. Having grown up in the area, I am familiar with the 138 corridor. Going down 138, I remember when, there was the Lincoln Mercury there, when it was Connor's Furniture, and seeing that turn over. I've seen some of the business parks there as well. One thing that's always associated with commercial development is traffic, right? We're starting to see a lot more warehouse space be financed and built. That brings employee cars. That also brings transportation for what they're delivering. So you're talking about 2 cars for every individual in a sense, not including the employees that are going to be in the warehouse itself. In addition to that, if you think of office buildings, those bring employees in the morning, those bring employees in the evening. And working with their transportation professionals and transportation professionals that are under contract with the town and trying to mitigate those issues. And then you get into signage as part of a commercial development and trying to work with the business owners so they have appropriate signage, and that way they're able to grow and stay, but at the same time limit its impacts on the community.
Thank you.
First off, welcome. Thanks for being here tonight. In your experience, have you ever encountered areas in a municipality that have been traditionally underutilized? And if so, how do you try to revive this area, and what areas do you see in Canton that could use this revitalization?
Typically, I would say village areas have sort of town center, Main Street areas. Those have always faced challenges, and for a number of different reasons. One is parking. The other is viability in terms of what they can bring in for use. I'm sure everyone's seen that one commercial space that's always been a nail salon, but it's been several different businesses over the past 10 years. So you need to work with the property owners. You need to engage them. You have to ask them, what are you seeing in the market? What are you seeing for tenant applications? And then if it comes to a redevelopment, then you need to work on your zoning. You need to allow for better setbacks, better coverages, decrease in parking requirements, but also working with other property owners in the area on providing something called shared parking. If a business is open from 4 to, let's say 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, right? But you have a restaurant that wants to go next door, and that restaurant's peak times are between 3 in the afternoon until 8, 9, 10 at night. If that establishment is closed at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, well, maybe there could be an agreement for them to use that parking lot and allow thriving business to come in.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Do you have any questions for us?
To be honest with you, not this time, sir.
Right. I didn't want to get it. If the select board decides that you are the right candidate, and we engage in negotiations, and you agree to those negotiations, you would accept the job if offered?
Yes, sir.
All right. The select board plans to move on this very, very quickly. We would like to get this position filled as quickly as possible. We do have a lot, as you spoke on, that we want to keep going and keep momentum that our previous town planner was working on. So you will be hearing from Jody, our HR director, shortly.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds great.
Any other questions for Mr. Murphy before we let him out?
Just one quick follow-up on the affordables. It's very new, the MBTA zoning and the ADUs. Have you seen develop of any ADUs in the area you're in now?
I've seen interest, I've not seen development yet.
And any developments in the MBTA zone in your community where you're at yet? Have you seen any of that?
Certainly projects in the pipeline.
Yeah.
It's part of the position. People come to you. It takes some time to get a project before board. There's usually a lead time of about 5 months. I can say I've probably talked to 3 different developers on projects in the pipeline.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Great to see you as well, John.
Good seeing you. Thank you.
Yep, that's fine. Thank you. I don't know that he really remembers Connor's Wayside.
I think he did his homework.
He did grow up in Milton.
The
though.
youngin'.
He's a pup.
It's the Sir part.
Yeah.
We have Fiona Kaufman. Good luck. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello.
All right, folks, please. Folks, please. Good evening, Ms. Coughlin.
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Welcome to the town of Canton.
Thank you.
If you could just give us a brief little idea into who you are and what you've accomplished and why you think you're a good fit for Canton.
Sure, absolutely. So Fiona Coughlin. I was born and raised in Quincy. I received my bachelor's degree from Framingham State University. I received my master's degree from Boston University in city planning. I have spent the past 2.5 years working as the Director of Planning and Community Development in Grafton, Massachusetts. Prior to my time there, I was a community planner and consultant for Barrett Planning Group, which is a small women-owned planning firm based out of Hingham. I have had various experience in the public sector. The director role that I'm currently in has definitely lended a lot of very, very helpful knowledge to me, and has really, I've kind of ran the gamut in that role. The town that I work in is quite small, so we work very closely with other department heads, boards and committees of all ranging from any topic, open space and rec, planning board, of course, select board, of course, our Economic Development Commission, Affordable Housing Trust, you name it, probably been at a night meeting. I believe that Canton is a lovely community. I spent a good amount of time here throughout my life. My father and I used to hike the Blue Hills for many years. We still do, if his knees are up for it. And you know, I've been a gardening volunteer at the American Museum of Bird Art. I was at Massasoit this past weekend. My brother's taking an EMT course there, and I was his patient. So, you know, I'm always in Canton. I love this town. It's all, you know, I really think that this would be a wonderful place to work. There's a lot going on, a lot of really great planning work that's been done. I was joking earlier, but it's a wonderful master plan. Like, it's very, very well done, and you know, I think that it would just be a great opportunity for me to continue to grow as a planner and to know this town. So.
Great, thank you. So I see on your resume that one of the many hats that you wear is serving on the Affordable Housing Trust. So how long has that been in Grafton?
So the Affordable
Is that
they've been around since 2007.
okay?
So.
All right. So housing is an issue everywhere in Massachusetts. Canton is certainly, we have our own Affordable Housing Trust. And our focus is obviously maintaining our subsidized housing inventory, so we say above that threshold. So what are your ideas for increasing affordable housing? Nothing too detailed, just,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So, you know, one of the kind of priorities that I try and focus on is we have a housing production plan. There's a variety of recommendations in that plan, including evaluating town-owned land for suitable development. We have an action plan that our trust follows. We try and really make sure that we're getting significant community buy-in for any sort of housing initiative that we take on. We're always obviously looking at our zoning bylaws to make sure that you know, we are allowing for much needed affordable housing, but in you know, obviously in coordination with other you know, long range planning efforts and the facilities and services that you know, may be limited. So you know, housing is obviously, it can be quite contentious, especially with a lot of you know, recent developments at the state level, you know, MBTA communities zoning, and now we have ADUs you know, allowed by right in single family zoning districts, which you know, I think again, you know, that we are in a housing crisis, and I think everyone is cognizant of that, and what we can do to advance affordable housing is a priority. It is a priority for the town I work in, but obviously, you know, we need to be cognizant of the community's concerns and making sure that we're having an intentional long-range dialogue about what, you know, our housing, you know, the diversity of our housing and what our kind of housing stock is going to look like, and making sure that, you know, grandparents and young grads and you know, all folks of all shapes and sizes can live in and contribute to the community. So.
All right, great, thank you very much. Ms. Harrington?
Welcome, nice to meet you. In municipal planning, unexpected challenges often arise. Can you describe a time when you encountered a significant obstacle and during a project and how you overcame it?
Sure, absolutely. So I will go to that housing example because the community that I work in is kind of at this juxtaposition where it's very rural, very low density community, and is kind of rapidly advancing development-wise, becoming much more suburban. We did have a quite contentious project before the planning board. It was a larger scale multifamily development that was near the center of town, which is a historic district and really cherished by the community. So one of the challenges was, fielding a lot of concerns about what the project would look like, the impacts of the project on the community, and just kind of navigating that public hearing process. It was a pretty extensive public hearing process, but I think we did a good job of being cognizant of the community's concerns, and making sure that we were finding solutions to problems. For example, there was a historic barn on that property. We were able to have that barn preserved and refurbished, which was really an excellent win, and as well as the installation of critical infrastructure that comes with these projects of larger scale that you'd like to see. For example, increasing and improving the sidewalk network, adding amenities, including community gardens, street furniture, bike racks. So that was a fairly challenging project, probably the hardest project and that I've experienced. But I think kudos to the board. They did quite a good job, and I think with that, again, kind of my thing is always with the ongoing dialogue and making sure that we can try and meet people in the middle, especially with particularly contentious projects. That's always the goal.
Mm-hmm. And did you feel like the community was happy with the final project?
Yeah, there was I think there's definitely always going to be, not total agreement, right? But I think, yes, I think that there was a good middle ground that was found, which was very lovely.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Mr. McCourt?
Welcome. Just a quick one. How would you approach assisting the planning board in implementing townwide goals and ensuring the strategic planning initiatives align with those goals?
Sure, absolutely, great question. So kind of always kind of referring back to the plans that are in place, right? So obviously the town invested a significant amount of time and energy into the master plan, as well as a lot of other place-based planning efforts that I saw on the website. So we're always referencing that information and making informed policy decisions based on those recommendations. I would continue to always maintain open communication with the planning board and other relevant boards and commissions about goals from the onset, right, early on, kind of start the dialogue as early as possible, get initial feedback, and kind of continue to go through iterations of feedback to make sure that when implementing, we're implementing in a way that the community would like to see, and in a way that makes sense, for the town financially and otherwise. So continue. Again, my kind of big thing is staying, keeping people in the know, continuing to kind of report out regularly, show up to meetings, and educate, inform, explain why we're doing this particular project or this particular study or this undertaking. And can just continue to maintain open and transparent communication.
Thank you.
Ms.
Hello,
Gordon?
Fiona.
Hi.
Share with us your thoughts on commercial development. What's your understanding and thoughts of the current town of Canton's business community?
Yeah, Canton has a really diverse commercial and industrial base, which is really nice for you to have. I've seen a lot of communities where the majority of their tax base is residential, which can be tough. I've noticed that there's some moves being made at the town meeting to make some adjustments to your central business district, which is, I think, exciting. I think it's going to streamline the process for you all, and kind of the review processes and make it a bit easier for, folks who are looking to develop in those commercial districts. Economic development is a key priority. I mean, it's really, it's supporting local business and business owners it should be, at the top of any agenda, really. Whatever we can do to streamline and kind of just make life easier for those folks who are coming in, they're looking to find out information, they're looking to see, oh, is there a grant available? I want to do a facade improvement, or I'm having trouble interpreting the zoning. Can you provide assistance to me, kind of help me, walk me through the public hearing process, or what have you? It kind of runs the gamut, but economic development is a lot of things, and I think, the top priority is always to provide the much needed support, especially because business owners, particularly small business owners, they're very, very busy people and they don't have a lot of free time. So, bolstering the commercial base and making interpretation of the town's regulations is what I would envision.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Albert?
Hey, thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the opportunity to be here. In your experience, have you ever encountered areas in a municipality that have been traditionally underutilized? How did you try to revive this area, and what areas do you see in Canton that could use revitalization?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that there's, that's a great question. I think it can range, right? I mean, I in particular, in the community that I work in, I find that our commercial and neighborhood business districts are significantly underutilized, and we could benefit from a similar effort that's being put forward at your Springtown meeting to expand the district, and as well as kind of like, really merge the kind of design criteria and kind of make that easier to interpret for members of the public. There's other areas as well. I've worked on, I've collaborated with our Parks and Rec director at the town that I work in currently to revamp a underutilized park in a lower income section of the town. We're currently working on sidewalk extensions and crosswalk improvements there. The next step would be to create, a kind of a more passive recreational area for the local folks in the neighborhood to enjoy. So, I think there's always room to improve. There's always somewhere that you can look and say, how can we make this better? How can we improve this area so more people can, have lunch here, set up a business here, live here. So, so there's a few different examples that I'm currently working on, and I think, Canton, Canton does a good job. I think, it's a good question. I think your industrial areas, I think that there's a lot of space that can be worked with. There's a lot of great potential. There's obviously huge anchors in those sections of town, but I think that there's obviously great potential, and then there's going to be huge potential with your mixed use bylaw that's being proposed. So that's really going to hopefully bolster more street activation, more housing, and just kind of more business on the ground floor in your key areas. So
Thank you.
yeah, welcome.
Right, any other questions for Ms. Coughlin? So, Ms. Coughlin, if the Select Board chooses you, and we do intend to act relatively quickly, and we instruct our HR director to engage in negotiations, if offered the job, you do intend to take it? You
Yes.
fully intend to, you're ready to go, Port
Yes.
Grafton?
Yes.
Okay. I suspect you will be hearing from the HR director very, very soon.
Okay,
All right?
wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members of the board. Appreciate the time and the consideration. Truly, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
See you again.
All right, Mr. Albert.
Next up, Town of Canton Public Hearing Notice. Notice is hereby given that the Canton Select Board will hold a public hearing beginning on or after approximately 7 p.m. on Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. The agenda posted at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting will specify physical location or instructions to join the meeting remotely via Zoom. The purpose of this hearing is to adopt Canton Stormwater Utility Rules and Regulations to establish the Town of Canton Stormwater Utility Fee to support the town's stormwater management service. Christopher M. Albert, Clerk, Canton Select Board. I move that we open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Public hearing is open. Here she is.
Just in case you have any questions.
You voluntarily sat in that seat.
That's okay. I gave up my seat for someone to sit, so.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Christine Meany, the town stormwater manager, and I prepared the stormwater utility rules and regulations, the abatement policy, which you may or may not discuss, and the fee schedule. I'm not quite sure if you wanted me to discuss stormwater or if you have any questions about the rules and regulations.
So if you could just, what are you proposing, the changes and what you're asking us to adopt? And
Okay. Currently, on your utility bill, you have a sewer and water fee. Those fees are solely dedicated to operate and maintain the sewer and the water infrastructure. Anything related to stormwater, funding comes under the general fund, which is the entire DPW budget. It's not dedicated to stormwater. If I plan to do some outfall sampling and I don't get to it until like May, chances are maybe that allocated funds could have been used by something else, an emergency situation or something. So there's no dedicated funding for stormwater. Due to our MS4 permit, which is issued by the Environmental Protection Agency, MS4 is a municipal separate storm sewer system. It's a permit that allows us to discharge our stormwater into our water bodies, any brook, pond, river, wetland. And with that permit, there are many requirements that we have to meet yearly. The permit focuses heavily on stormwater pollution. Between operation and maintenance, sampling of our outfalls to see if there's any, it's called an illicit discharge, to see if there's anything going into the storm drains that's not supposed to. And also, we're required to install stormwater management upgrades on any town-owned facility. So whether it be an accepted street that was built many years ago, on those types of streets, stormwater flows into the catch basin grate, and it gets into the drainage system, and it just flows out into a water body. If you live on a street that was built in the last 30 years, you may have a stormwater management system, and that provides additional treatment. And that's what the EPA would like to see, all these older streets, they call it retrofitted with stormwater management. Primarily to remove sediment, bacteria, phosphorus, any nutrients, because all these affect our water bodies. And then aside from the MS4 permit, we also have ongoing operation and maintenance. Our infrastructure is aging. It's better to be proactive than reactive. It could be 5 times more costly to react to a situation than keeping up with inspections, maintenance. We have culverts. We're replacing the Elm Street culvert this year. We need to inspect other culverts under the street, see if they need to be upgraded or repaired. Because our stormwater infrastructure, again, is tied to street flooding. Some of the infrastructure is undersized due to climate change, we're getting more intense rainfall. So the storms that we got, I think it was like last August, I remember it was a Thursday night, it could have been an inch of rain that came down in a half an hour. Our storm drain systems aren't really designed to handle that intense storm. So if we can add retrofits to certain areas that flood, that would help abate flooding. And again, operation and maintenance to make sure all the drainage infrastructure is working correctly is really what we need to do. And with the funding we have now, again, because it's not dedicated funding, we can't adequately perform the stormwater management services that we need to do. So basically, the utility fee would provide that dedicated funding.
Okay. And so that's an enterprise fund account?
It is, yes, yes.
So you're aware of the flooding that occurs on Indian Lane and how we've allocated?
I'm working on it right now.
Okay.
Alphonse, the town engineer, and myself.
Yeah, it was rhetorical, because I knew
Yeah.
you were aware of that.
Yeah, there's 2 areas at 187 and 56, so yes.
If this fund had existed, could we have used, I'm not saying we would have used, but could we have used money from this fund to address that?
Yes, because at the 187 end, we are actually installing infrastructure.
Okay.
So there'll be hopefully catch basins going in, a water quality unit to clean up the stormwater, and then there's a town-owned property right on the Stoughton line where we're planning to discharge the treated stormwater, because that area is like a bowl.
Yep.
The area down by 56 Indian Lane, we're gonna regrade the street, so that would probably come from different funding.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Any questions from the board?
I have a question,
Yep.
Mr. Chair. Does your work encompass any of the unaccepted roads in town, or no?
No.
Okay.
No. Yep. Yeah, that, it's not considered town-owned.
Right.
So, no, we technically don't, unless it's a repair, I can't say we wouldn't fix, like, if a catch basin grate was caved in, if it was a safety issue. I know we repair potholes in unaccepted streets, so it might fall under that category, but we do not do operation and maintenance or anything on unaccepted streets. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Just name and town. I know.
Capital Planning Committee,
Thank you, sir.
Water Sewer Policy Committee. There's a lot of questions around this. First of all, what would the fee be? And how would the fee be determined? Residential versus commercial? Capital Planning was instructed that this would be under the sewer enterprise account. It would be, the finance director informed us that it would be part of the sewer enterprise account. So it's not a separate enterprise account. It would be included in that account. There were 2 capital requests this year, a street sweeper and a dump truck, that were requested under stormwater. $750,000 was the total for 2. Capital Planning could not support those because there's just a lot of questions around what is this fee? When will the fee be implemented? When will that revenue be coming into the sewer enterprise account? And how will that fee be determined? We recommended the Finance Committee not to purchase those capital items. Finance Committee deferred it to town meeting.
Yep.
So if we could get that information in town meeting, what this is, how much it's going to be, when it's coming, some kind of public outreach or notification so that the public understands that this new fee is going to show up on their quarterly water sewer bill. I would advise getting ahead of it so people aren't surprised when they see this new fee, especially when we're not sure how much that fee is going to be. I think it would be in the best interest to make sure that people know a new fee is coming. This is what it's for. This is an EPA requirement. There's permits, as she has mentioned, that have to be in place. Talk about the amount of phosphorus, the amount of nitrogen that goes into the Neponset River. Canton is in basically the Neponset River watershed, and there's a lot of federal regulations that need to be met, which I know she is hard at work on doing. But it's just, there's a lot of questions around this, and I think the public deserves to know what's coming, when it's coming, and how this will be used. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Reinhardt.
Did you?
I think we can answer all those questions
Can
tonight.
I try
Hold
to
on a second.
answer some of the
Yes.
questions?
Yes, please do.
Okay. With respect to the fee, it will be a separate small residential fee, which would be single-family homes, townhouse units, duplex units, would be charged a base fee of $25 a quarter on the utility bill. Any large residential property, a multi-story condominium building or apartment building, a commercial industrial building, it will be based off of their total impervious area. That is a fair way because impervious area generates stormwater runoff. Since we can't really calculate a usage of stormwater like we can with water and sewer. So industry standard is based on impervious area. And it's also based on what's called an equivalent residential unit. So that's the median impervious area for the single-family homes in Canton, which is around 3,465 square feet. So that would be the denominator. So say your property had 10,000 square feet and the ERU is $25 a quarter for 3,465 square feet. You would divide the 10,000 square foot of impervious area by 3,465 times $25 a quarter. And that's how the fee would be calculated. We call it a fee because we are going to be offering credits for certain properties. We're looking at that right now, whereas if it were a tax, you don't get credit really. So we will be offering credits for certain properties in town, specifically ones that have stormwater management systems that they can show that they're maintaining them and they're operating as they were designed.
Let me help you a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So a couple of other answers to the questions. So clearly, we're going to get this information out to the public, but the first step is for the board to actually adopt the policies and the fees. And once you do that, then we'll start the outreach. It'll go onto the website. I'm sure it'll be in the paper with Mr. Berger. So folks will definitely be informed as to the new fee.
Yep.
And then as far as how the money sits in the sewer enterprise fund, it's not commingled with those funds. There'll be a separate line item
Like a
for
subset fund,
stormwater, so you know exactly where the fees went and how much is available to use on stormwater projects.
Okay.
Mr.
So,
Chair,
yep.
Charlie, you just a quick, yourself, from this proposal and this to implementation, what are you talking for time?
So this, should you approve it, would be implemented as of July 1st. So the first time that you would see this would be your water sewer bill after that first quarter. September, is that what it is? October?
I think July? I'm not sure when.
And
the
those
first-
bills are going to be changed because of the mapping also. So
Right.
this is all intertwined with the mapping of the water meter reading.
Right,
I would
and that's,
imagine.
when you're talking about calculating ERUs for impervious surface, you folks are doing that, through GIS. correct?
Yes, our GIS department is using aerial photography and all all available mapping. We're calculating impervious areas for all the properties.
And in a previous meeting, you did have an estimate as to what the average household annual fee might look like.
Mm-hmm.
Is that around $125? Was that, am I right on that one?
Yep, it was around that. We're gonna go with $100 a year right now, so $25 a quarter.
Based on that number and the rough calculations of commercial properties, what are you anticipating for annual revenue?
We're hoping, again, we haven't calculated all the impervious area yet, but we're hoping definitely over $1 million.
And just one last question to follow up on that. As any fee that over a period of time they go up, any fee increase would go through the select board for that increase?
Yes.
Or in the future going down, like what, just a water fee also?
Yes, yeah, it's written in the rules that it has to be.
And one last, sorry, on a new development.
Mhm.
A new development comes in and, you know, they're one of the biggest effectors of our stormwater in themselves. Is there a fee attached to their permit application, automatic? You follow what I'm saying? Like, it would be like, hey, you're gonna do this. We would like $500 towards our stormwater. Is there any type of thing on that, like a construction stormwater fee, something like that? Just curious.
Yes, through the permitting process, the Conservation Commission does have a stormwater management rules and regulations.
Right, okay.
Or through, if it's involving a wetland, it's through a notice of intent. And there are fees associated with those applications, as well as a site plan application with the zoning board. So those fees would still be the same.
Thank you.
Sure.
Name and town.
Greg Murphy, Canton resident. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. McCoy, I like the questions you're asking there. It's along the lines of what I'm thinking of. My concern is how we implement this. As a fellow member of the Capital Planning Committee, we were presented all the requests for capital funding in the coming fiscal year. And if it was any prior fiscal year, the sander and the dump truck would have been part of the standard capital funding that is allocated through tax revenues. There are additional funds. We mentioned the sewer and the water. There's an ambulance fund. These are all extra fees that are assessed people that use those services. Everyone uses, well, most everyone uses water and sewer. And then ambulances per use. But the point is, this is going to be another new fee. And when the request came in, there was no offset to how much was being asked from the tax revenue capital funding. So basically, it was everything, you know, that the 2.5%, you know, restrictions would allow, plus all the other stuff you're already paying, plus this in addition to that. Keeping in mind that the residents and businesses in the town voted very recently to fund a school exceeding 2.5 limits there, agreeing that to let their taxes go up several $100s. This is without knowing this was coming. So I guess I'm just asking you to think about how this is going to affect everybody. You know, another fee, losing it, no tax write-off, no anything. I mean, another $180 a year we're talking if that fee is how we implement it.
So 100, not 180.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
100, not 180.
I thought it was 45 a quarter. I heard.
25.
I'm sorry?
25.
25 a quarter, I
I
apologize.
mean, your point is taken though, but
Still another $100. Thank you.
And this is mandated by the state also, that we develop a stormwater plan.
Yes, DEP is also involved in the MS4 permit along with the EPA. DEP has stormwater management regulations that we adhere to as well. And that's also on the operation and maintenance side of things, as well as water quality, treatment of stormwater.
Thank you.
okay.
Point of clarification on that, you said mandated. Is it mandated or permitted?
The EPA, we have a permit with the EPA,
Right.
and it's mandated. And
They
it's
mandate
unfunded.
us charging a fee?
No, the
Okay.
the MS4 permit, are several requirements the town has to do yearly.
Understood.
And that's the mandate we have to follow, and it's unfunded, so between,
Just to follow up to my statement, those two pieces of equipment, I feel we needed to replace them. That wasn't, it was the way it was presented to the capital planning committee that I felt I couldn't support it. If that had been part of the capital, the standard capital planning request, rather than this fee that doesn't exist yet, funding it somehow, I personally would have supported. I can't speak for the rest of the committee, but again, there was no offset the way they did it this way, where if it was in the capital plan, regular capital plan, it would have been offset, because we basically try to work towards a number there.
Right.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Just name and town again, please.
Brenda Sweeney, Canton. You mentioned that this is going to be a fee instead of a tax because you wanted to be able to give credits to some people that have some kind of storm management
Yes.
system in place. Is there a way for people to get some kind of, I mean, I don't know anything about it. So what is that, and is there a way for residents to achieve something to get the?
we're
Credit.
still looking at the residential credit because it's the lowest fee. So we have to analyze like all the properties in town. But typically, like if you were building a new home now in town, the conservation regulations require that you collect an inch of water off your roof and put it into like an underground recharge chamber. And that is part of the EPA requirements. That's the treatment. A 1 inch of water provides treatment of the contaminants that are in water. So we have to look at residential properties and see, what we can do to give credits. That's still a work in progress, so.
But that is something that you will educate the residents
Yes,
on if they
definitely.
wanted to
Yes,
be able to go
yes.
down that path.
Definitely,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Sure.
And Mr. Chair, just one last clarification for the residents, is when you're calculating your ERUs, your impervious surfaces are your driveways, and that would be your asphalt roof too, your roof coverage of your house?
Yes, it's driveways, roofs, even gravel driveways, because they're so compacted. They're gonna have runoff, swimming pools, sheds,
Yeah. So,
anything that is basically not grass or landscaping.
thank you.
And to Ms. Sweeney's point, that'll be part of the community outreach, how residents might file for an abatement or.
Yes. Abatements will be available if anyone feels their impervious area was calculated incorrectly.
Yep.
Single-family homes will not be calculated for impervious area. They just have the lowest fee possible. But yes, we will reach out. I'll probably hold something at the library if people want to come and questions and answers, so, yep.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Albert?
I move that the board close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Okay, I move that the board adopt the stormwater utility rules and regulations and to establish a Town of Canton stormwater utility fee to support the town's stormwater management services.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Thank you
very much
very
for your
much. I
presentation.
appreciate it.
For answering the questions.
No problem.
Thanks for your work on this. All right, next, Mr. Albert.
All right, next up is the health and dental insurance plan. Jody?
Busy night, Jody.
It's the Jody Show.
And Ms. Middleton, I'm 3 minutes behind schedule, so.
I tend to talk fast anyway. Hi, thank you very much for having me this evening. I'm here to talk about the insurance renewals, specifically the medical and dental for town and school employees. Just to give you a little background, The renewal is always on a fiscal year. We start open enrollment and everything in May, and all the rates and everything I'm asking you to approve will be from July 1st to June 30th of next year. A little history that the town has maintained stable insurance premiums for the last 5 consecutive years. We have not had an increase in the medical and dental premiums. In fact, last year we decreased the dental premiums. So, but unfortunately, in order to remain current and aligned with all the increases in premiums, the rates have increased. We've just absorbed it. Unfortunately, the town can no longer maintain in the 6th year of no increases. So I'm proposing a modest increase for the premiums for fiscal year 26. We have 2 health plans that we offer to the employees. It's our HMO plan and our PPO plan. I am asking for a modest increase of 3% of those premiums. And then for our retirees, we have what we call a retiree program, medics under Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's a modest increase of $12 a month, which equates on this premium 15% increase. It is a little scary to say the 15%, but it equates to about $12 increase for the month. I did include in your package over the weekend to review that if we were with the Group Insurance Commission, the GIC plan, they are increasing their premiums approximately 11%, and then the MIAA are increasing their premiums about 14% for fiscal year 26. We don't want to get into a position of that where we just kind of maintain and then all of a sudden have to increase the premiums with double digits. We are really fortunate. We're probably one of maybe 2 surrounding communities that have single-digit increases for fiscal year 26. So I am asking you to, there's a couple of things I'm asking you to approve. I don't know if you want to group them or if you want me to just pause, ask you to approve the insurance rates, and then move on to plan design.
So you're asking for a 3% increase to Blue Cross Blue Shield, HMO, and PPO, and then 15% to the Blue Cross MedX plan?
Correct.
Okay. Yes. And just so the board recalls, and for the public, this was a recommendation of our HR director, our finance director. This was vetted through the finance committee as well.
Absolutely. I run my numbers to him.
Yep. All right, do we have any questions for our HR director? All right, Mr. Albert?
I move that the board approve a 3% increase to the Blue Cross Blue Shield HMO and PPO plans and a 15% increase to the Blue Cross Shield Medics plan for retirees.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
My next item is to talk about our dental insurance. A little background, if we want to change any plan design with our insurance for the health or dental, we do have to get the Public Employee Committee together. It's called the PEC. It is a member of a representing body of each union, and that is town and schools. So in order to make any changes, we do have to negotiate that. The town adopted the Section 21 back in 2012. I'm not recommending any plan design changes for the 6th year in a row with the health insurance premiums. So I'm not asking to increase co-pays or deductibles. Those would stay.
Dental insurance? Did you mean?
We're on, no, I'm not asking any plan changes for the health insurance.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I was on a roll, Charlie.
Sorry.
Anyway, so that I'm not asking, that is, we were in agreement that we're going to continue the plan design for fiscal year 26. We did get together and have a meeting for the dental plan. We were with previously Delta Dental. I've been here for 13 years. We have maintained the same exact dental plan, same premiums, but it is time to kind of look at that plan design and maybe get a little better plan for our employees. So we did come to an agreement that we would like to move the plan from Delta Dental to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we would also like to improve the enhanced dental plan, have more coverage there. Majority of the premiums, there would actually be a decrease in premiums. There's a slight increase for one of the plans, but it's pennies on the dollar. So I'm asking you, the Public Employee Committee has agreed and voted and has signed, we call it the PC agreement, asking you to approve that plan design change as well, so we can move forward with the contract with Blue Cross and Blue Shield and get everything switched over in a timely manner so they can use their benefit come July 1st.
All right, any questions for our HR director on that?
I think it would be a good move for the town to switch. I really do.
All right, so I would entertain a motion that we follow the recommendation of our HR director for the design plan change to move from Delta Dental to Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Oh, second.
So moved, and I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
I'd just like to say thank you very much. All communication will be distributed to employees in May. We'll have our benefits fair over at the community room at the library, May 8th. We will also send, we do a mailing to all of our retirees, whether they're out of state or not, so they're aware of, because they're on the dental plan too, in the increase in the premiums. And we're also working out a day in May to host Pandemic Retiree Day, just so they can come in, they can talk to me about any increases, maybe update their beneficiary form, change of address, things like that. So we're gonna have, I'll have coffee and donuts and just kind of be present if they have any questions about the increase.
Great.
So we'll be communicating that out.
Okay. Thank you very much.
That's it.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Good evening.
All right, next up is an update from the Canton Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee. I think we have Naomi here.
Nicola?
No, Nicola's not here.
No, she's not here.
She was.
I thought I saw her earlier.
She left?
Oh, she did?
Standing.
I mean, we said 8:25 and it's 8:26, so
Bad.
we're planning on her part.
Reclaiming 1 minute, just kidding.
John. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's right there. I could have done it.
Well, I can, that's part of the job. I get a stipend for this. You got it.
Yep.
It should come on.
Sure. You want me to start?
Yeah, come so I can see it.
All right. Members of the board, my name is Matt Masciarelli. I am a Canton resident, obviously, and I am a teacher at the Galvin Middle School, and I'm the clerk for the Canton Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. And
members of the board, my name is Naomi Akan. I am the chair of the Canton Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. I am also a special educator with the Canton Public Schools. We're all here with some members, former members who have come to, support us, and there's some members also on the committee as well.
If they want to stand up, you're welcome to recognize them. Few familiar faces. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so we're here tonight to show you pretty much the work that we've done in this fiscal year, and we have that, of course, they say pictures say 1,000 words. We're going to show you a slideshow of all the work that we've done this year so far.
All right.
I'd like to lead with the first slide show that says diversity is a fact, equity is a choice, inclusion is an action, belonging is an outcome which we all hope for. I'll start in the left picture on the left. Some of you were there at our Pride event, and we held that at the FPEU. Really, Alan can speak to that. Alan Rappaport, he was the head coordinator for that event. Go ahead, Alan.
It's now our third year having Pride.
So, Alan, just...
You know better. It's our third year having a Pride event in Canton, and we're going to be having one again in June. And, it's really quite an accomplishment to have a flag flying in the center of town, and hoping that there could be a flag potentially at this building at some point. But, we're making great progress with Pride, and Naomi will go on for other events that we've done.
Thank you. Thank you, Alan. And shortly after that, we did have our Juneteenth. Again, was the fourth year, I'm sorry, because we did have one in 2020. That was our fourth Juneteenth. And we could see right underneath that picture is all the past and present members of the CDI committee. The picture up on the right is Chief Rafferty and my daughter and I, who is a student at the Canton Public Schools, right there with some African products that we had given out. And there's some people under there, I think under that picture, that's George Cromwell's mother, who benefited from the fans we sold that day. It was really hot, again, trying to make cash, but Northern Spy has been very supportive, and we've always had the events there. Next slide, please. The next event was Indigenous Peoples Day, and we hosted with, again, with the First Parish Unitarian, led by Reverend Walsh, who's been also super supportive, Reverend Walsh, of our events. Just having those spaces and having us, use the space, again, saving cost. Thomas Green is a native Punkapog tribe member, and he was able to give us a talk on Columbus versus Indigenous Peoples Day. And I would say, as an educator, this is something that we've always wondered about and how to approach with our teaching practice, and that was very informative.
It was a really great interactive experience. It wasn't just a talk. We were up and about throughout the whole. It was a great day.
And here we have our celebration. We did Lunar New Year, but before that we had our farmers market meet and greet, and as our superintendent, my boss, Derek Follen, who's also very supportive of us. That was us at the farmers market. We had swag that we had brought for our students who really had cleared it before the event was even halfway through. Parents came to meet us and talk to us about the committee. And the picture right under the Lunar New Year celebration is the Canton Heritage Night held by 2 seniors at the Canton High School. And they said that this committee, as well as the Heritage Night held at the Galvin, was the inspiration for them to have that as their capstone project. You can read their why, if you can see that.
Yeah, their why is that far bottom right. Growing up in a community with little Asian representation, especially in elementary and middle school, lacked the opportunity to experience my culture outside of my home. That was their capstone, and they had a great evening in January at Canton High School.
Right underneath, they were featured in the Canton Citizen as well. And then we had a Black History Month celebration, and I have one of our members here, Mr. Willie Winston. Sorry, Willie. He didn't get up before to say hi, so. We held this event at Topgolf, and this was very well attended. We have members of the Canton High School Jazz Ensemble, as well as the Galvin Middle School Steppers, and we had 2 speakers as well for that event. Willie, would you like to say a word or 2 about that, or here?
There's a microphone behind you, too.
Good evening, Willie Wilson. I am a resident of Canton. I'm also the Director of Operations for the Topgolf in Canton. Topgolf is very, very proud to be in the town of Canton, and I'm honored to be sitting on the board with on this committee with Naomi and the rest of the members, because I truly believe in giving back and making a difference. And Canton allowed us to be here, so it's our way of giving back. We thought 30 members were going to show up, but over 100 attended. So we look forward to being able to host many more events as we give back into the community and just continue to fortify a strong partnership with the town of Canton and everyone in the surrounding area. Sky's the limit as to the things that we can do to make a difference in the community, and Topgolf is proud to be a part of it and looks forward to looking for new ways that we can impact and change people's lives.
Thank you. Awesome.
That event was a truly community event where we expected a crowd, and the crowd was triple at least, and people from former board members and workers at Topgolf and Galvin Middle School teachers and stuff. We worked to increase the space and find places for the step team to get ready, and it was just it was a great night. It was a really great night.
Next, we have our Transgender Day of Remembrance. We held that at the lab, the digital lab, distance learning lab at the high school. Again, very well attended. A picture on the left is all the names of the transgendered victims that have passed away in the past year. We have a performer, Evan Green, who's been very supportive of our events. And then also we had the Transgender Day of Visibility. It was an open mic karaoke event, and that was held at the First Parish. I had asked that the board board members have seen this remembrance and justice call to action that we had written for the Canton Citizen, but I'm not sure if we have copies of those. I had asked for that and our budget as well to be sent to the board. Matt, can you read that email?
Sure.
Beside that?
After this was printed in the Citizen back in February, something like that, we got a letter from a citizen, and I'm just going to read it. Dear Naomi Khan and members of DEI committee, I wanted to take a moment to thank you for your recent article in the Canton Citizen. As a parent, it means a lot to see these efforts taking place. I want my children to grow up in a town that values and actively fosters inclusivity and belonging for everyone. It is inspiring to see these efforts highlighted, and I'd love to learn more about how I can contribute. I'd love to learn more about how I can contribute to your work. If there are any opportunities to assist the community or volunteer in any capacity, please let me know how I might be able to support your initiatives. Looking forward to hearing from you.
And so just the, of course, the effect of our work and how that has, moved our community and just positive way. So we are doing the work, and we know that we do get, a budget from the board, and these are the things that, the good work that we're doing. There's respect in the community for us. We have community solidarity. There's town support, which we're grateful for. Solidarity we're building with other towns. Great cultural awareness. Confidence that small actions can definitely go a long way from 2020. Collaboration and increase in interest. Proof that collective work brings change. There's a sense of belonging in our community and inclusion, and of course, empathy for others. We're here to ask for a 50% increase, which will continue to help our cause with the DEI. And with that, I would like to read a statement that says, Canton should have a committee dedicated to highlighting our diversity and ensuring that no matter what happens elsewhere, we continue to strive towards ensuring equity, inclusion, and belonging for all our residents, town employees, and surrounding communities. This is something we all should be proud of. The CDI committee works with communities to keep the budget down as much as possible, holding events at Topgolf, Northern Spy, libraries, student performances, which we have pretty much for free, that jazz band, and the step crew. We keep getting bargains and bargains for swag, and it's just a struggle to juggle our budget. A 50% increase, which would bring us to, I have the math right here, $9,750, $9,750 is totally reasonable. We are a staple in this town, and residents have shared that they do enjoy and benefit from the events we provide. We've done so much in this past year, but all of it comes at a cost. Please consider our budget increase, members of the board. We thank you kindly.
Thank you very much. You guys do such great work. Several of these events I was fortunate enough to attend. Some of them I found out after the fact, so I'm sorry because I would have attended. But it's fantastic, everything that you guys are doing. What is it like for student involvement at the different schools? Like, is the high school really the biggest group of students, and then middle school, or is it pretty even around?
It's mainly the high school students would come with the jazz ensemble, but then it depends on the events. We usually would have a mix, like say at the Juneteenth, it's an open field at the Northern Spy and Paul Revere Heritage Site, and we have a lot of students participate.
Yeah, like sixth graders come read poems that they've
Right,
written, or just
exactly.
written spoken word.
Yeah, so it's really a mix, and it just varies on the event that we have.
Yeah.
And Brian Thomas and his work with the The jazz ensemble is just remarkable, and they're extremely generous with their time.
He's a rock star, literally.
He is a
Literally,
rock star.
literally.
He's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did say to Select Board Member Conley that they can't live off applause, and each time they come, we applaud them and we thank them. You know, it'd be nice to support them in some way, and we do this because it's free. And we both are educators, and we know that our students will always support, you know, our causes, but it's just really hard to work with the budget that we have right now.
Have you reached out at all to CABI, Canton Association of Business and Industries? There are companies in the town that I'm sure would trip over themselves to participate. I mean, similar to Topgolf, that want to give back to the community, and they might be able to offer meeting spaces or things like that. But CABI might be, I'm not saying that Select Board wouldn't support.
No, I know, I just wrote it down so that I can, but yes, we did talk about that, and Willie said yesterday he's gonna keep supporting us and just volunteering, and he would financially as well too, right? We did talk about that in our meeting yesterday right here.
Yeah, okay. All right. Mr. Rappaport, did you have
Yeah, I just want to add, as you said, Michael, I want to say everybody on the Select Board has attended one of our events, so we thank you. And I just want to make mention for John Conley. He was the chair of the board when the committee was formed, and he was very instrumental in getting us started. So thank you for John for that.
Thank you, Mr. Rappaport. Do we have any questions from the board?
No, but I do just want to say, I don't know how you did all this on that ridiculous shoestring budget you're working on. I don't know what kind of sorcery that was, but it's very impressive.
First of all, congratulations, Dr. Harrington.
Thank you.
Good to see you. It was tough, but I'm a hustler, so I will hustle a budget. So.
Okay.
And I just do what she tells me to do.
And then the committee runs smooth. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Albert, what's next?
I think you're up next,
All right.
if I'm not mistaken, and then
All right, so next item is the police audit recommendations. So the Select Board, like many of our residents, have received and reviewed the police audit report and its findings. The Select Board will immediately begin to work with Canton Police to address these findings, as well as discuss any possible funding issues that are related to these corrective actions that are needed. The Select Board will provide regular updates to the public on our progress at future meetings. I would like to thank Five Stones Intelligence Firm for their work on this audit and their public presentation, the Police Audit Committee, and our residents for being patient as this audit went through the process. We are committed to making sure that these findings are all addressed. And so you will see that on future Select Board meetings as an agenda item.
Before we go to the next thing, Chair, do you mind if I comment on that?
Go ahead.
Unless you were going to say something else. You done?
Yep.
Okay. So I was, sorry, Chris, but I just wanted to talk about, I thought it was really good, the report. Actually, I hated their, I think I told you, their presentation at the high school, but the written report was good and had lots of excellent recommendations. But I feel like the elephant in the room is the upcoming contract and the conflict of interest of having Mr. Albert vote on it. I know he filed the disclosure with the town clerk's office, and there is a conflict of interest. His brother's a direct report to the chief, and I'm kind of echoing what Liza mentioned earlier. I started scribbling notes. And in our state, there's two parts to conflict of interest. There's the actual conflict of interest or perception of conflict of interest, and I believe that this sort of is both. It's not sort of, it is both. And it makes us look tone deaf if we sorry, allow that. I have to just
Yeah,
tell you how I,
you
I just
can-
have to tell you how I feel,
you
I'm
can-
sorry.
yeah. You can
But-
say whatever you want, that's
I
fine.
know, I know.
You got your opinion.
I know. So that's where I'm at. And it's, so this is good, this is a good start, but I think that we just have to be cognizant of how we move forward with everything.
Yes.
So,
Okay, no, valid point.
If I could, Mr. Chair, if I could just jump in, just because my name was invoked. Just so you know, I actually have talked to the State Ethics Commission because on a vote that I took previously that I maybe or maybe not should have voted on when I first got elected, and they specifically told me what I can and I can't vote on, and they have to do with direct things with my brother's contract. So anything other than direct connection to my brother's contract, so I'm not quite sure. I agree with you 100%, but I appreciate that.
okay.
Okay?
Ms. Lombardi, very quickly.
Yes, I have a couple of things. I don't understand why you wouldn't agree with Trish Boyden. It is a severe conflict of interest. The chief...
All right, so, Ms.
Okay,
Lombardi,
I'm
we're not debating
forget it.
that
I won't say
tonight.
anything else about that, but I do have something to say, because in the recommendations, it did speak about the fence again. The chief has asked for the kitchen, which was declined. The chief asked for something else. And now Five Stones has concluded in their recommendations, and there were 3, that there's a fence, that the police station needs a fence to protect themselves. It is not the police whose safety has been at risk. It is the citizens. Okay, so I hope that when the board considers the recommendations from Five Stones, that they squash the fence. We don't need a fence around the police station.
Thank
We
you,
don't
Ms.
have weapons.
Thank you, Ms.
They
Lombardi.
do.
Thank you. Yep, just real quick, just name and town, please.
Mark Grossman. I do think that the police, I mean, there was I think, a good recommendation, and, that if you look at most apartments, they do have fences around, and, and again, I think, my support for the Canton Police, and Helena Rafferty, I think they've done a good job. I don't know, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Gross. All right, folks, we're not getting into a debate about any of that stuff, all right? I was giving you an update on where we are with the police audit recommendations. We will absolutely be providing updates at future meetings, and when we provide those updates, if you have questions or comments, you can bring them up then.
Just continue to destroy our trust. So we're starting just destroy our trust.
Linda Peterson, Canton.
Thank you.
I strongly support the police, and I think the audit, there were some good things, I think Maria had said some of it was lean. The one thing that really appalled me, okay, and I support the police, is there radios that don't work in certain parts of town, and I think that should be number 1 priority. We're talking about their safety. We've had shootouts on 138. Those men and women are putting their lives at risk. So I think certain fences, whatever it is, but the priority should be their safety, which goes with our safety. So I don't know what the status is on those radios that don't work, there's dead zone, but I was like astonished that we would allow them to go out in the street and not be safe and not be heard. That was my biggest, what is going on? I don't know if that's been addressed yet, but I think that should be like number 1.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy, very quickly.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just have information on the radio specifically, because I raised that at the meeting with Five Stones. And basically, I was reached out following that meeting by IT Director Louis Jutras, and he explained that the radio issues and the challenge that we have are being addressed as we speak. The project's not on hold, as Five Stones had indicated. It's not waiting for the middle school to be built. There was miscommunication somewhere along the way. That is in process. The town approved the new radio system last year. They ordered the equipment right away. It's being installed as we speak. It should be all done by the end of the summer, with possible exception of an additional repeater that they're going to add to the new building when the middle school is built. So that issue is a grave concern, but it is being addressed. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. All right.
All right.
Next, Mr. Albert.
Next up, I move that the board reappoint the members of the boards and committees as posted on the agenda and referenced on the attached list.
So the members of these boards and committees, and there's dozens and dozens of them on various committees, Their term has expired. The executive office sends out a letter to each of those members asking if they wish to be reappointed. Those that say they do, we will reappoint, and those that don't, we will make recommendations that, announcements that these positions are open on various boards and committees. So if anybody has a question about a specific board or committee, you can email the Select Board's office and we can give you the list. But in the interest of time, this list is part of the agenda, so we're just going to do one massive approval. All right, Mr. Albert.
Okay, next, I move that the board appoint a member of the Veterans Council.
No, we got to, we got to.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
The members of the boards and committees list.
We're going to go through the...
No, just the motion that's there.
Oh, all right. I move that the board reappoint the members of the boards and committees as posted on the agenda and referenced item in the attached list.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Next,
All right,
Mr. Albert.
next, I move that the board appoint a member to the Veterans Council, Kristen Hanover.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Next, I move that the board appoint seasonal parks and recreation staff for pool maintenance and camp new hires and rehires as posted on the agenda and referenced on the attached spreadsheet. Once again, it's quite lengthy, and it's in the attached sheet that we have here. So,
I second that.
All right, motion has been made and seconded, and as Mr. Albert referred, a lot of these are just rehires that we hire year after year. We thank them for stepping up. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Next, I move that the board approve the personal action form.
Nope.
Oh,
Pull that one, pull one, that's pulled off.
oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh, wait.
This one?
Which one do you want?
No.
Personal action for the
Yeah.
Canton Library?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at the next one.
I got
My
that,
bad.
yeah.
You got
I
that one?
that,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I'm all set.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I move that the board approve the personal action form for the Canton Public Library Young Adult Associate, Rubia Isa.
Second.
Ruby.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor,
I
please say aye.
apologize.
Aye.
5-0.
All right, next, I move that the board authorize the use of a mitigation funds for the construction of a municipal parking lot at 25 to 27 Neponset Street in the amount of $205,914.98.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. So, Mr. Duty, do you want to comment on this number at all, or?
Yeah, sure. This is part of the development agreement with Canton Holdings.
Yep.
It's a municipal parking lot that is intended to support the downtown in that area of when Neponset intersects Washington. So businesses like LC's Table and Time and New Barbershop, those businesses there, try to address the lack of parking there. And that parking lot the infrastructure will be in place for EV charging as well.
Excellent.
We just have to go out and find a grant to be able to complete that part of the project, which we will do.
Okay.
But the first phase is this parking lot.
Okay. So just to update the public a little more, this has been a couple of years in the works. The town owned one of the parcels of land, and then we acquired the next door parcel of land with the intention of making this a parking lot to support that end of Canton. So any questions from the board?
I have a question. The question is signage. What will the signage look like in terms of visibility from those businesses on Washington Street?
Yeah, so we'll install the municipal parking lot signage at the lot, and then in the center of town, there'll be some wayfaring, some directional signage to direct folks on how to get there. Similar to what you see in Norwood, where that parking off the center of town in the back, there's signage that directs you to that lot.
Okay.
So we'll be doing a similar thing.
And Mr. Duty, will we have a sign in there, no overnight parking?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. All right, motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Next, I move that the board renew the seasonal wine and malt liquor license and renewal of Como Victrolas license for K&K Kitchen, DBA Karen's Kitchen, 2167 Washington Street.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Next, I move that the board accept and authorize the use of the gift in accordance with the terms of thereunder Mass General Law 44, subsection 53A, the following donations for the Canton Cleanup Day, Boston Mutual Company, $2,000.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. And Mr. Sullivan did reach out. They had a very great turnout. Ms. Boyden, thank you for being a leader. And Ms. Harrington, I think you were suckered into standing with her for that as well.
Yes, I was.
But thank you both for your efforts, and thank you to everybody that volunteered for that great program. All right, next, Mr. Albert.
Next, I move that the board accept and authorize the use of the gift in accordance with the terms thereunder Mass General Law 44, subsection 53A, the grant of $50,000 from Outfront Media for the Shawmut and 95 locations.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Next, I move that the board approve the application to obtain a special license to serve wine and malt beverages at 4 theater performances, April 25th, 2025, April 26th, 2025, May 2nd, 2025, May 3rd, 2025, starting at 7:30 p.m. and during intermissions at 3 Randolph Street, contingent upon building commissioner, police chief, and fire chief approval.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Okay, next, we have the vendor warrant total for the week of 3/27/25, $1,142,311.49. The vendor warrant payroll total for 4/3/2025, $1,634,009.32. The payroll warrant total for the week of 4/3/2025, $1,900,030.47. The vendor warrant total for the week of 4/10/2025, $5,822,025.48. Next, I move that the board approve the cemetery lot perpetual care deeds.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Next, I move that the board approve the cemetery commitments in the amount of $3,125.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 5-0.
Okay. Next, I move that the board approve the minutes from the Select Board meetings of March 18, 2025, and March 25, 2025.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. So, Ms. Harrington, you are able to vote on these if you've watched the meetings. Otherwise, you can abstain.
Okay.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Okay, next, I move that the board approve the executive session minutes from September 10, 2024, and February 18, 2025.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded, and Ms. Harrington, you would abstain from this. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Abstain? Yeah.
Yes, I abstain.
I know what
Sorry.
you meant. All right, 401.
Okay, next up is the town administrator update. Mr. Duty?
Just one thing for you all tonight. I just want to make folks aware that Senator Feeney and Representative Galvin will be hosting a community meeting tomorrow night for the Pappas Rehabilitation Center. They're hoping that the community turns out to express their feelings about the closure and the current pause and what the future holds for that facility. There'll be remarks by Rep. Galvin and Senator Feeney, and then there'll be some testimony from folks that work at the facility and then current and former students. So if you have time, it'd be great to come out to that. It's from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., and it's at the UCC Church on Washington Street across from the Canton Police Station.
Is that it, the
Just
only
ask a
update?
quick question. Are they trying to limit that to just Canton residents?
No, it's open to the public.
Okay, thank you.
Is that the only update?
That's it.
Okay. Any other announcements?
I'd like to make one, if I could, through you, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
You know, I sit here meeting after meeting and absorb what I absorb, and that's fine. But I think it's negligent upon us that if a speaker gets up and they spread disinformation, that it should be brought to light And one of the speakers tonight spread misinformation and disinformation, and I just want it to be known that just because somebody says something doesn't make it factually true. So I just want that on the record.
All right, thank you, Mr. Albert.
All right, the next up, the Select Board will hold its next meeting on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the Sala Meeting Room, Memorial Hall, 801 Washington Street.
All right,
Next, I make a motion that we end tonight's meeting at 8:59.
Second.
motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
See you next week.
Thanks.
4:10.
Let me get my app.
What part didn't you understand that I said I wanted it?
All right, Mr. McCourt, next.
Mr. Chairman,